This year has been extra special. The playing group is as connected as they've ever been.
Coming into this season, we didn't have that underdog mentality anymore. It's like we are good enough to be the top team in this competition, and I think we just had that belief from the start that we could be in the position that we are in now.
If you're in the team or you're not in the team, everyone celebrates each other's wins equally the same, and that's a product of the key people that we have at the helm of this club. Lizzie and Ez have obviously been big drivers for being here for such a long time, and you can't have good people at the club without good people at the top.
Whoever we bring into the side and however we mix up the side, we always have so much trust in that person to get it done, no matter who they are, how many games they've played, and I feel like the connection is so much stronger, and you can see it with the girls that show up on game day and those who really celebrate, the small wins, and check on each other and want to be there for the club.
Girls are just here to play for the club, they're not here to exceed any expectations, they want to play for blue and gold, and I think that's the best thing about it.
It wasn't about being the best performing team or being the most successful team. It was about being the teamiest team, and it's being as connected as possible. So I think that kind of was put into us from the first day, and right up until the last session, we'd just aim for, we'd go out there to be the league's greatest team.
The 2024 Williamstown VFLW side was a record-breaking side. For the first time in the program's history, they finished on top of the table, so were minor premiers, and went through to the first prelim final that program's ever seen. So I think the biggest thing for that program was the bond between the playing group, the coaching staff, and all of the assistant staff that are involved in the program. We have a good bunch of young, up-and-coming players, as well as a really core group of older players that were leaders both on and off the field. I think it was really evident that they all played for each other, particularly when the chips were down and they needed to respond when times were tough. You could see that on the field and off the field before and after a game.
2024 has been an incredible season for the club. Obviously, I've been here since its inception in 2018, and we've had a lot of tough losses and a lot of tough years sitting at the bottom of the ladder, going 7 seasons ago, 6 seasons ago, 5 seasons ago. We've always kind of been on the bottom and trying our best nonetheless, but this year has been extra special. The playing group is as connected as they've ever been. We've got amazing depth and amazing talent in our program this year, and it's been just a credit to the club and the program that we've been able to finish this year as the minor premiers and feature in the finals campaign. From a personal note, I always knew that we were going to get there. I knew it was going to take time, and I knew the club has always fought hard during their own hardships. So it's really nice to be able to reap the reward of the years gone by and see success in our program.
Going through, it just felt like end on end that people would have this mindset about us, and I would probably have the mindset about the club and the group that we were never good enough, or would never actually be seen as competitive. And to have this whole year and finish as minor premiers, it was like the final validation that we got to say we earn respect. We've earned the right to be proud of this club and to be proud of this team and to be proud of the work that we've put in, because we've been able to sustain such a successful season and put ourselves in such a strong position leading into finals.
I think it's pretty fair to say that since Cav joined the program 2 years ago, we've seen some significant strides taken in our VFLW side and their achievements on field, and that's solely because of not just what Cav's been able to do as a coach, but also been able to do as a leader for those young women in the program. His leadership qualities on the field are really shown when we see the type of football and the brand we're trying to play. But I think off the field you see what he does to make sure that group are continuing to grow.
The leaders and Cav kind of came together a little bit before pre-season camp at the start of 2024 and talked about something that we wanted to kind of represent this year, or something that we could kind of hold with us. Cav's whole message this year was that we were on a pilgrimage, and we kind of had this mountain to climb, or this mountain to conquer. And so we pulled together the idea of a flag, and on camp everyone wrote on the flag what they wanted out of this year, what their end goal was, what their dream was for the 2024 season. And a lot of different words, a lot of different goals, girls just wanting to, some of them just wanting to get a game or wanting to make the list, and then others, you know, wanting to win this premiership. And I think it was just like kind of a symbol of what this year meant to us, and the flag came to all games, was there out on training, no matter what. It was just kind of the reminder to lean in and that we were carrying this thing along the journey as well. 2024
saw our VFLW program break a lot of records. I think one of the most impressive ones was beating Darebin by 76 points early in the season at an away game. Darebin didn't manage to kick a goal all game. But then remarkably, only 6 or 7 weeks later, we returned home to DSV Stadium, and the girls went even one better by beating Geelong with another record-breaking margin. So we won by 86 points with the scores 89-3. So on a couple of other firsts, in 2024, we were able to beat North Melbourne, who ended up being the eventual premiers in 2024. We also created the longest winning streak in the program's history with a 10-game winning streak from round 4 all the way through to round 14.
Spoil O'Brien does the roving at the back, has time to steady, line it up and pump the double fister.
It's an interesting recruiting strategy when you go and find a 41-year-old to add to your list, but I think we finished last year and we just knew we needed a different look in the ruck. It was pretty open around the way we approached it, and just through some networks, we'd heard really good things about Kat. I remember calling her and kind of just felt like I had to call her, but I knew she was going to say no. I'd heard she was retiring from local footy, and obviously she has kids and family and that kind of thing. So when I spoke to her and she was interested, we were like, yeah, let's give it a go and see how it goes, and she's been fantastic. So she's come straight in. Yeah, she's obviously now holds the record as the oldest player to play for Williamstown in the VFL or VFLW, and I don't think she wants that record. I think she wants us to tell everyone she's 30. But she came in really level-headed, really hungry. I think she sets a good example of being present while also being competitive as well.
Gets the handball out. Eves back to Julian, snaps, goals! Number 3 for the Seagulls.
Favourite thing about Nick's goal is about 2 minutes before that, she had a set shot about 25 metres out and just kicked it into the man on the mark. And I remember saying in the box, she's never going to kick a goal. Then she just got a dirty one out the back of her pack, and it probably wasn't how she imagined it. It was awesome. You do all this recruiting and then someone like Nick Julian just kind of turns up out of nowhere, and she was probably one of our best recruits last year. She's incredibly skillful, incredibly athletic. She's in that really good part of her career where she can still keep up, but she's also really smart and experienced as well.
I think the qualities that this women's side have shown this year is that they are starting to believe that they're good enough to win a VFLW premiership, and that was certainly within reach this year. And I think that's got to do with the fact that there's been a core group that have been in the program now, some since our women's program began, but also some that have been in for the last couple of years, that are able to bring particularly a lot of the younger players in the side along. And I think the more they bond together, the better they'll become. So I think this is just, we've seen a taste of what they could do in 2024, and I'm sure 2025 will bring us even further success.
Preparation was different. I think biggest thing for me coming into that first final is the perceived pressure of being the first group of players to win a final for the club. It's something that we didn't get to do last year. We had a chance to do and we failed. So how do you manage the emotion and the pressure that comes with that? Because we talk about process, but as soon as things aren't going our way, we have the ability to start thinking about outcomes too much and negatively impact what we're doing out there. So going into that game, we always introduce our theme and our focus on the Friday night, and our theme was just passion. And we just talked about, we don't need our player, the Williamstown community don't need to see skill and thrill and perfection in our first final and this kind of really outcome-focused lens to the final of perfection. Williamstown just want to see you care. So for us, the theme was passion. It was grab your jumper, pull on it, pick each other up, celebrate goals, turn to the crowd, but also turn to each other and celebrate together. And I think over the course of that game, our focus became about bringing each other back into the game again because of this passion focus. So even when we were down, even when we were up, the passion was just constantly getting generated from within. And yeah, look, to be honest, I think we didn't think about outcomes too much for that game. We came in and we just wanted to represent. It was so good being at home. To win our first final at home is something that will be remembered for a long time.
Yeah, the atmosphere was amazing on Sunday against the Bulldogs. When they kicked the first goal, you could hear that they had their supporters there. You could hear the Western Bulldogs cheering, the fans cheering them on. But when we sort of hit the lead after half time, it was amazing to hear the support of the Willie crowd getting behind us. I think last year's final there was a little bit of trepidation. It was the first time we'd been in a final and the town didn't really know, how well we were going to go. Whereas this time coming in as the minor premiers, I think the town were like, you've got this, and they were right behind us. And I remember walking off with Eliza at the front down the race and it was like paparazzi, there was flashes and people cheering and we felt like genuine celebrities, which was amazing. So late in the fourth quarter of the final against the Dogs, Eliza, our captain, she went down, she got pinned under a tackle and her knee sort of buckled underneath her, and she obviously knew that something wasn't quite right, so she went to the bench straight away, and there was only a few minutes left of the game to go. Got it assessed on the bench and didn't really show any signs of being distressed or anything. She supported us when the game was over. She did her post-match interview. She led us all off the ground like an absolute legend, sung the song with us and was so courageous. Not long after that, she went back into the medical team to get her knee checked out, and it was not looking too good, and scans the following day showed that she had unfortunately ruptured her ACL and done a little bit of damage in there to her knee, and that her finals campaign would be over from there.
She just is someone that loves this club so much, and she is just the epitome of an ultimate leader, and to see her go down like that in this time of the year as well. She's been here pretty much from the start, and she's worked her way all the way to get us to this point, and just to go out now is so not fair.
It was pretty emotional to hear that. I think it hit the team really hard, because Eliza, not only is she such a great figure on the field, but she's an amazing captain off the field. So it's funny, it's a little bit of it was a bittersweet weekend to win the game, but then to lose your captain in those circumstances was pretty tough too.
Yeah, the Monday sucked for all of us. So I just remember when she called me, I just didn't know what to say. So I kind of wanted to help her, and to her credit, she made it not about herself within hours. So she spoke to the team, and as you can imagine, it felt like a funeral at the club. But a lot of people do what they do here for her in the women's program because they want to see her specifically achieve success in the way that she carries herself. So yeah, when she told us all, she told us in a way that said, it's not about me, it's about you guys. And the worst thing you can do for me is not represent like I would. So
everyone will think I want to put everything into getting back on this track, and I know there'll be setbacks, and I know that my body will be ready when it's ready. But yeah, I see myself out on that field next year as early as possible. Running around, getting contact into it, getting it strong. So my plan, I guess, from October to February is to be able to build on the connections that we've kind of set up this year and be able to really bring this group together in a different way. I want to do it. I want to lead differently, I want to connect differently with the girls, and I want to set us up in those first few months to really be as connected as possible, because I know that we were a very new group coming into 2024. So I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to challenge myself in that way, in terms of leadership and connection, and creating something different from the 2024 season.
I hope you know, like, for someone like me who's been here, for girls who have played here who might not be here, for girls that have been here for so long, like, to actually see what you're doing is so inspiring, and it like means so much. And I hope that I hope you feel that.
We felt really well prepared for North Melbourne. We knew what they were going to try and do. We knew how to stop it, and that we had stopped it before. They're a very good team, but so are we.
The way that we started a final of that degree of amplitude, I thought was really well. Like, we handled the occasion really, really well in the first quarter, and started really, really firing. And then started the second quarter, obviously came out, kicked the first goal, and there was a strong belief that, yeah, we can do this today. And then in the space of a really short amount of time, things went a little bit south and we couldn't quite stem the bleeding. So that was probably a big learning curve that we've put in this week, and a lot of strong review has been done around what happened in that 14 minutes when things went so south. And I think the biggest thing that we took from it was there were uncharacteristic things that we did that we haven't done in previous weeks. So then, whilst it was frustrating to see that, it was also like, we know we're better than this. We know this is not how we play.
14 minutes, we just gave the game away. Our defensive indicators dropped. And you know, like, you let a good team do what they want, it's going to hurt you. And we probably just had too many things drop off at once. Beaten heavily in contests, beaten heavily in clearance, beaten heavily in uncontested possessions. We gave it away, and North were good enough, you know, to punish us for it. So we kind of came into the rooms after that game flat, frustrated, but also pretty optimistic about our pathway from there.
After the game, the feelings, there was a bit of like anger, and there was a bit of like, wow, we really let that go in that second quarter, and we could have won that, and we know we're better than that. And, you know, obviously initially coming off the ground, we were feeling that anger, we were feeling a bit disappointed, you know, seeing North celebrating that. Like, we wanted that to be us. At the end of the day, like, we all know what we're capable of. We know the sort of game that we play, and we know we're able to do it. And knowing that we were able to win 3 quarters on the weekend and just have that little downfall in the second quarter really goes to show that we can win this no matter what is thrown at us.
It's game day. Let's go, baby. We're really vital. Do you know what that ball means? Hard work, dedication, 10 weeks. About $300.
We'll thump it forward, set a task for her teammates, and they're going to burst through the middle of the ground. The Dogs inside the forward 50 to Hardingham, over the top to Clifford. Party time for the Western Bulldogs.
Numbers everywhere.
They're going into the grand final with a full head of steam. Look out, North Melbourne.
It was definitely disappointing. I don't know, I feel like we'd fought so hard, and I just feel like it wasn't our day in the end. But I think the girls are just so much more hungry for it now that I know myself and others just want to really have like a hard pre-season and off-season and come back stronger for next year.
So then now looking home, Chili's are a bloody successful club. We bring so much joy to you guys that come and watch us, right? Like, let's keep cheering, let's keep clapping. It feels bad in here for us, but how bloody amazing that you just watched us play the prelim, and that you know that next year we're going to be back again and again and again, and it's not just a one-off year now.
The impact of this season, it has to have meaning, or it's a waste. It has to be something that when you zoom out and you look at it in a 5-year lens, you go, that's the season everything changed. You know, like, we got all these consolation prizes. You know, we broke our scoring record twice. We won our first final, our first minor premiership. But like none of that hangs on the wall. There's only one thing that hangs on the wall, and that's a premiership. So I would like to think that we will look back at this season and we will say that's when we found the extra 10% that creates a premiership team. But there's only so much control I have over that. But I know, yeah, it would be painful to see it go to waste. It's got to be a stepping stone to something else now.
We had a good year.